It is extremely rare that I see something that makes me stop and think this is just extremely my shit, as often as I did during Sweetheart, the sharply scripted, smartly directed creature feature from slide filmmaker J.D. Dillard. Produced by Blumhouse, Sweetheart is a genre hybrid character study of Kiersey Clemons Jen, half survival movie, half monster movie, all centered around how the young woman finally learns what she is capable of when she wakes up stranded on a small island and soon discovers a monster lives there too. Sweetheart begins as the young woman wakes up on the shore of the abandoned tropical island. Staring as the water laps at her feet, a fellow survivor of her mysterious ship crash washed up alongside her, except he's got a giant piece of coral stuck in his chest, living just long enough to mutter the ominous last words, "Did you see it?" before drawing his last breath. For her part, Jen doesn't have time to process what that it might be, muttering only a soft "what?" before getting to work on figuring out how to survive this wild new terrain she calls a temporary home. There is a lot to love about Sweetheart, but chief among them is Clemons' spectacular turn as Jen and Dillard constant faith in both his actress and his character. Dillard co-wrote the script with Alex Heiner and Alex Thurer, and with the backing of Clemons' thoroughly commanding performance, they endow Jen with unwavering competence and utter lack of hysterics. That becomes crucial as the film's deeper themes start to connect. But in the near dialogue-free first act, it is an absolutely refreshing portrayal of a woman in peril. Whether she is discovering the bloated torso of a former fellow shipmate, learning how to spear, hunt and gut fish for food, or trying to find a sustainable source of water, Jen keeps her cool just enough to get by. Of course, she is keeping focus so well she doesn't take head of the dizzyingly giant hole at the bottom of the seafloor or the worrisome corpses of the sea life on shore, like a severed shark's head with deep crimson gases down the side. That is, until she discovers the full threat lurking on the island in one of the film's most striking moments of monster imagery. Few monsters have ever had a better introduction. The hulking figure emerges from the ocean shore in a nightmarish flare-light sequence, and you get the full sense of Jen's dread with a little more than a spare but perfectly staged creature reveal and an equally on-point reaction from Clemons. The creature's first intro may be the film's most memorable moment, but it's certainly not the only one. Dillard's got quite a bag of tricks for making his low-budget stretch as far as possible, leaning on Clemons to do the heavy lifting in the absence of big-budget effects, and with few exceptions, showing a great instinct for exactly how much to show off this monster and when. As for the beastie himself, he is a gooey amphibian man-in-suit monster designed by Bad Robert, regular Neville Page, and performed by Andrew Crawford. It is clear this is a monster movie made by a monster lover, and you can feel the DNA of grades in the way Dillard stages his sequences to make the most of his modest means. Ultimately, Sweetheart is an excellent lean and mean creature feature that proves Dillard's resourcefulness as a filmmaker and eye for making monster magic. The film loses a little bit of that raw power when the third act brings some new survivors to the island, and while those themes drive home resonant thematic message, there is no denying they are less engrossing to watch. Thank goodness then that Dillard wastes little time getting back to the monster action, setting up one last grand confrontation that drives home Dillard's knack for leaving just enough off-screen and Clement's portrayal of Jen as one of the low-key great horror heroines. From the perfectly circular hole in the ocean, an absolute nightmare trigger of evocative imagery, to the creature's vaguely human physique, Sweetheart tees up a world of mysteries you will want to explore, preferably with a giant monster hunting weapon in hand. But like most of the greats in the genre, Dillard only gives us a keyhole view into the larger mysteries, leaving behind a lingering sense of mystery that keeps the film replaying in my mind. So yeah, this is one is again extremely my shit, and for some ungodly reason it's being released on VOD, so be sure to put Sweetheart on your radar and watch it on the biggest screen you can find. So finally, Sweetheart is a fantastic piece of cinema and we would like to rate it 8 out of 10 stars because of its educational and motivational value for survival at any cost. Aren't we humans most known for this?